So many of the healing techniques that I've explored over the years require us to think about what's going on for us, or to remember what happened, or to plan what we'll do next. But that's all mental work up here, and sometimes our brain just gets in the way. I know mine does. So that's when we can use our bodies to heal instead. But how exactly do we do that? I'm Nicola, and for over 25 years I've been exploring ways to release my issues and break my patterns of pain so I don't repeat the cycle, and I would love to help you do the same. So despite what you may hear from many healers and therapists, I'm here to tell you that you do not need to use your head to heal your issues. It is actually totally possible to use your body instead, and I want to take you through some of the ways that you can do this. But the reason that we can use our bodies is because so much of what we're dealing with is stuck in here, in our muscles, in our nervous system, in our organs, in specific parts of our body, in our energy systems. And the advantage of using our body to heal our stuff is that it means we don't have to dredge things up. We don't have to relive things. We don't have to remember what happened. We don't have to analyze what happened, why it happened, what it means, how to deal with it. And it helps us get around this tendency we have to overthink things, to get stuck in rumination, and it definitely helps you bypass your mental blocks. I know it really does that for me. And as I've been exploring these techniques over the years, I've created a short list, and I'll give that to you in the description so you can download that, but of the techniques that are my favorites, because I found so often that if I got stuck in my head, they just didn't work. And conversely, if I could find a way to get out of my head and into my body, the techniques were significantly more effective. So my favorite techniques don't involve the mind, or minimally involve the mind. There's no dredging up the past, or only a very little bit to tap into whatever's going on. They're free and accessible to everyone. There's no gatekeepers. They're simple to use. They're something you can do on your own, that you can do in private. They're portable, so you can take them with you wherever you are. They're safe to use on a regular basis. And most importantly, these techniques actually work to release the stuff that's stuck in your system. So healing through the body is sometimes described as bodywork, or they can be called somatic therapies, but there's also energy work techniques, and I'm going to take you through 6 of these. And they may involve things like body awareness, physical movement, tuning into physical sensations, and basically just feeling into your body and what's going on for you emotionally and physically without involving the mind. And by doing these techniques, you can release emotional issues, you can resolve trauma, and you can reduce stress and pain. So my first technique, and probably my most favorite, is EFT, or emotional freedom technique, also called meridian tapping. EFT was developed by Gary Craig decades ago, and it involves tapping through a specific sequence of points on your body to help you release stuff. So you're thinking about or repeating specific phrases as you're tapping, and those phrases help to tune you into the issue without necessarily being too mental. I certainly know, as I've done EFT over the years, if I focus too much on the words I'm saying and not on the tapping in my body, it's not nearly as effective as if I just tune out the words, sort of say them on rote, and actually tap through those points and really focus on what's going on in my body. It can be really powerful at releasing stuff. When I first started using EFT, I had a severe phobia of spiders. I couldn't even look at a picture of a spider without becoming completely terrified and overwhelmed. And so as a test, I used EFT and tapped through these points while focusing on my fear of spiders. And eventually I got to the point, I remember the day, I looked at a live spider outside the window, and I was actually able to look at it without becoming overwhelmed or triggered. And that was huge. I still don't love spiders, but I don't have that intense over-the-top reaction to them anymore. And that was fantastic. The second technique that's really powerful is acupressure. So acupressure is about stimulating specific points on your body that are on the different energy meridians. It's similar to EFT because the EFT points are also connected to energy meridians, but in acupressure it's about stimulating these points in particular ways that are connected to specific emotions and experiences that help stuff to move in your body. I recently worked with a healer who used a combination of acupressure, breathwork and massage to help shift stuff for me. Prior to working with him, I had a condition where I would become paralysed under certain conditions. Certain things would trigger me and my muscles just wouldn't respond to voluntary command for about a period of half an hour or longer sometimes. But after working with him, and he used acupressure primarily to release a bunch of stuff, stories, emotions, memories that just came up unbidden without my mental involvement. I just had to feel my way through them. And after working with him, I no longer have that issue. I no longer experience that paralysis. So using those acupressure points was really powerful for me to help release that stuff out of my body. The third technique that can be really useful, and because it's not involving the mind, is sound. Now, it does encompass a huge array of possibilities because sound is a whole category unto itself of healing techniques. But it could be something as simple as a song that comes up out of nowhere that helps trigger release. I know I've had releases to the most random of songs, things from High Five, which is like an Australian kids pop group. They've had done songs that have done that for me, to people like Somatic who put mantras to music. Those songs have just triggered huge releases for me. But also things like the specific healing frequencies, like the solfeggio frequencies. There's specific vibrations that help tap into things and can help move things. There are healers who use their voices to make sounds to heal. There are all kinds of ways that sound can be used to help shift things and release things from your systems without involving the mind at all. The fourth technique is called TRE, or trauma releasing exercises or tension releasing exercises. TRE involves fatiguing specific muscles, often your legs, but not exclusively. You do certain exercises to tire those muscles out, and then you put them in certain configurations that means that those tired muscles then start to shake spontaneously. And that shaking is a way of helping your body to release some of that tension or trauma out of your body. If you think about animals of prey who are attacked, often after they escape or evade an attacker, they will go through a period of shaking, which is their way of releasing that experience from their body. So TRE can help us release things that are stuck in our bodies. The fifth technique is another of my favourites, although these are all really good, and that is bioenergetics, because it combines breathwork and stretching, and I found it to be incredibly effective. I've only really dived into the most basic exercises for bioenergetics, doing the bow in the arch, which involves bending forwards and backwards while breathing a certain way with a certain repetition and timing. And for me, it's been incredibly powerful at shifting things and getting things moving in my system. And I'm keen to dive into and explore that one even further, but it has been incredibly powerful for me so far, even at its most basic level. And the sixth technique is breathwork. So breathwork on its own without anything else can be incredibly powerful at changing your state, so it can calm you, it can give you energy, and it can help you shift stuff out of your system depending on the technique that you use. And I've got a guide with a bunch of different breathwork techniques that you might want to download so you can explore them and figure out which ones help you to resolve the stuff that you're dealing with. But breathing and the way that we breathe is incredibly powerful, and it's free and accessible, and we take it with us everywhere that we go. And if there are any other body-based healing techniques that are your favourites that you found really helpful, please share them so that we can all benefit from what you've learned, and we can build a bigger and more effective toolkit for all of this body-based healing work. And as you use your body to release your stuff, instead of having getting stuck in your mind, you don't have to figure it all out. You don't need to understand what happened. You don't need to think it through or analyze it. You could just let it go and move on. And if you want to understand in more depth the safest way that I've found to release my issues, watch this video next. And I'll see you in the next one.